In today's video, we're going to be diving into something that could be a game changer for you or your loved ones on Medicare. It's something that many seniors don't realize until it's too late: the Medigap trap. In today's video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about different types of Medigap plans and the potential pitfalls that might lock you into a plan that is less than ideal. So stick around, because this really is important, especially if you're on a fixed income or have health issues. So first, let's clarify exactly what a Medigap plan is. Medigap plans are also known as Medicare Supplement Plans, and they're designed to fill in those financial gaps of Original Medicare. Because yes, Original Medicare doesn't cover everything. There can be co-pays and co-insurance. Generally speaking, we're talking about a 20% co-insurance when it comes to Medicare Part B and varying co-pays when it comes to Medicare Part A. So for Original Medicare, yes, you have to pay a monthly premium, usually just for Part B. People don't usually have to pay for Part A. But when you actually utilize your insurance, there are out-of-pocket costs as well. And that's where those Medicare supplement plans will step in to fill in those financial gaps. So as I said, usually no premium. For the Part A deductible in 2025, that's $1,676. Now that is not applied per year, but rather per benefit period. So if you have to be hospitalized more than once in a given year, then it's entirely possible that you may have to meet that deductible more than once in a given year. So that could be a potential out-of-pocket cost. Then there's your actual co-insurance or co-pays when utilizing your Part A care. So if we're talking about inpatient for days 1 through 60, there's no co-pay or co-insurance. Days 61 through 90, it's $419 per day. Days 91 through 150, it's $838 per day. And after 150 days, you pay all costs. So again, those are some potential costs. Skilled nursing facility, days 1 through 20, that's $0. Days 21 through 100, $209.50. And past 101 days, you pay all costs. Now, 21 days, that's just 3 weeks. Think about how long it might take to recuperate from something like a hip surgery or a knee replacement. Home health care, $0 for covered home health care services, 20% of the Medicare approved amount for durable medical equipment, and hospice care, there's no charge for. Then there is Part B. Again, we already talked about that there is a monthly premium. Your deductible, unlike Part A, this is a once annual deductible, and in 2025, it's $257. So that is not necessarily as significant a cost. When we talk about the more significant costs, usually we're talking about Part A, because that's your hospital care. So those charges are just going to be more significant. Now for general costs, then usually it's 20% of the Medicare approved amount. Now for something like a doctor's visit, that's probably not very expensive. But when we're talking about X-rays, MRIs, diagnostic services, etc., then 20% can be significantly more expensive. Also 20% for outpatient mental health care, just pretty much across the board. When you use Part B, it's 20% of the Medicare approved amount. Now, these out-of-pocket costs are where Medicare supplement plans come into play. They offer stability and peace of mind, and that's why over 40% of those who are enrolled in Original Medicare have some type of Medicare supplement plan. This is the updated comparison chart for Medigap in 2025. There are 10 basic plans to choose from. Plan F and Plan G also have a high deductible version, which we will talk about as well. Now, not all of these plans are available to new enrollees. Namely, Plan C and Plan F are no longer being offered to new enrollees. And of course, these plans have varying price points and varying levels of coverage, which you can see. So a check mark, of course, indicates that this benefit here on the left is offered by this plan. You will see sometimes it's asterisked, or in the cases of Plan K and Plan L, which are cost-sharing plans, Plan K will cover 50% of the copay or co-insurance associated with that benefit. Plan L will cover 75% of the copay or co-insurance associated with that benefit. So let's start. Part A, coinsurance and hospital costs, up to an additional 365 days after Medicare benefits are used up. Now, as we've seen when we looked at the Part A hospital costs for inpatient care past 60 days, you can see that all of the plans will cover that, and that can be a significant cost. Part B coinsurance or copays, that would be that 20% that we looked at. Then all of the plans are going to cover that to some extent. Again, Plan K and Plan L only covering a portion of that coinsurance or copay. You will see here that this is asterisked. And that is because Plan N pays for 100% of the Part B services, except for copays for some office visits and some emergency room visits. So sometimes you may have an additional copay not covered by Plan N. Blood for transfusion, covered by all plans. Part A, hospice care, coinsurance or copays. Skilled nursing facility care, and as we talked about, if you stay more than 3 weeks, those costs can be rather significant. All plans except for A and B will cover that. Part A deductible, that one is huge. All plans except for Plan A cover that. There's a reason Plan A is definitely not one of our favorites. And very often you will see that it's not like the monthly premium is so much less. So there's usually not really a reason to go for Plan A. Now, the rest of the plans will cover it to some extent. Plan M will only cover 50%, and Plan K and Plan L, still those cost-sharing plans. The Part B deductible, that is a smaller figure. It is applied once annually, and no plans being offered to new enrollees will cover that. So the only plans that ever did cover it were C and F, and those are slowly being phased out. Part B, excess charges. So these are basically excess charges that can be charged by certain doctors. When your doctor agrees to contract with Medicare, they agree to accept the amount that Medicare will approve. However, doctors can choose to charge up to 15% more than that. And that's what's known as a Part B excess charge. Now, none of the plans will cover that except for Plan G and Plan F. Again, Plan F not offered to new enrollees. So if this is something that's very important to you, then you want to go for Plan G. That being said, Part B excess charges are not that common, and they're not even legal in all states. So again, this is not a deciding factor. For a travel emergency, all plans will cover that in some capacity except for A, B, K, and L, and then there's an out-of-pocket limit. So the cost-sharing plans will impose an out-of-pocket maximum. For Plan K in 2025, it's $7,220, and for Plan L in 2025, it's $3,610. That's because these plans are only covering a portion of the benefits, so you do need to impose some type of out-of-pocket maximum to ensure that your medical spending is capped in some capacity. The rest of them do not offer an out-of-pocket maximum, and of course, Original Medicare does not have an out-of-pocket maximum, but for a vast majority of these plans, most of your out-of-pocket costs are going to be taken care of by the Medicare Supplement Plan itself.
Now, when you first become eligible for Medicare, you actually have two main routes that you can follow. You can either choose Original Medicare, which we've just discussed, or Medicare Advantage. So this is where that first Medigap trap comes into play. Many seniors choose a Medicare Advantage plan at first. Those $0 monthly premiums can be extremely attractive, as well as the fact that many of those plans offer those additional benefits like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs.
Medigap plans, aka Medicare Supplement Plans, will sometimes impose an out-of-pocket maximum, like in the cases of Plans K and Plan L, although many of the plans really don't need an out-of-pocket maximum because so many of the out-of-pocket costs are covered. Medicare Advantage plans will always impose an out-of-pocket maximum. For Medicare Supplement Plans, there may be medical underwriting depending upon when you enroll and what state you live in. With Medicare Advantage plan, there is no medical underwriting ever. With Medicare Supplement Plans, the costs, i.e. the benefits, are standardized, so Plan G will remain the same Plan G regardless of who your carrier is. And that's not the case with Medicare Advantage plans, although they often will offer lower deductibles, copays, and coinsurance when compared directly with Original Medicare. Now, no additional benefits are offered by Medicare Supplement Plans. They're really just a financial solution to cover those deductibles and copays and coinsurance. On the flip side, Medicare Advantage plans very often do offer additional benefits like dental, vision, hearing, prescription drugs, and many more. Medigap plans, there are no referrals, so you can go to see any specialist without need for a referral, and there is no pre-authorization. That is, of course, not the case with Medicare Advantage plans. If you have an HMO, you'll definitely need referrals, and there's always that issue of pre-authorization, which is a very big issue. And finally, with Medigap plans, it works regardless of who your carrier is. If your doctor accepts Original Medicare, they accept your Medicare Supplement Plan. And unfortunately, with Medicare Advantage plans, not only are there networks, but those networks can be extremely restrictive.
However, what many don't realize is that you could end up stuck in that plan. Here's the problem. Medicare Advantage plans are calendar year plans. That means that should your needs change, you're actually locked into that plan for the calendar year. And should you decide that you want to switch back to Original Medicare and add that Medicare Supplement Plan for more comprehensive coverage, you may have missed out on your window to do so. When you first become eligible for Original Medicare and enroll in Part B, you have a 6-month window to enroll in any Medicare Supplement Plan that you choose, as long as it's offered to people of your age, without medical underwriting. That means no additional health questionnaires, no additional fees, no higher monthly premiums. Should you choose to enroll outside of the 6-month window, then you may be subject to medical underwriting. That's why this initial 6-month window is really the golden time to lock in your Medicare Supplement Plan. Now, if you decide to enroll outside of that window, that's where things can get trickier. At this point, you may be subject to medical underwriting, which means your carrier can look into your health history. They can deny you coverage or charge you much, much higher monthly premiums. And that's why very often people first enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, and then at a later date, when they decide that they want to switch to a Medigap plan, they suddenly find themselves locked out with no real alternative. So what exactly is medical underwriting? Well, it's an evaluation process that your carrier uses to determine your health. They can look at your health history, any medications that you may be taking, any chronic conditions, etc., to determine whether you are worth the medical risk. And they use this medical underwriting to determine whether they're going to charge you a higher monthly premium or deny you completely. And in most states, if you choose to enroll outside of that initial 6-month window, then you may be subject to medical underwriting. Now, if you have major health issues like serious heart disease, diabetes with complications, or cancer, it's not only highly likely that you would have to pay a much, much higher monthly premium, it's likely that you'll be denied outright. Now, there are some exceptions to these rules, special circumstances that are known as guaranteed issue rights that allow you to enroll in a Medigap plan outside of that 6-month window without medical underwriting. But before we discuss that, a brief pause here. If you have questions about your Medicare or health insurance in general, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. We are licensed health insurance brokers. We're licensed nationwide, and there's absolutely no charge for our services. And please make sure to subscribe to stay up to date. We do release these videos on a weekly basis. And of course, make sure to give this video a thumbs up so we can get this information out there. All right, let's get back to it. So first, let me go back just a little bit. I did say that you have that 6-month window when you first enroll in Original Medicare when you turn 65. But remember, if you choose to defer your Part B, perhaps you are working past the age of 65, and if you are working past the age of 65, I highly recommend that you check out the video about deferring Medicare, which I will put at the end of this video. If you are deferring Part B, then that 6-month window actually doesn't begin until you enroll in Part B. So it's not just that the clock starts ticking when you turn 65. If you choose to defer Part B and you don't enroll until you're 67, that 6-month window wouldn't begin until you actually enroll in Part B. Anyway, back to the guaranteed issue rights. Let's say you're new to Medicare and you've chosen a Medicare Advantage plan. If you are still within that initial 12-month period of enrolling in a Medicare Advantage plan for the first time, this is what's known as your trial right period, and you can actually drop that Medicare Advantage plan, switch back to Original Medicare, and enroll in a Medicare Supplement Plan at that time. Also, if you lose coverage with your Medicare Advantage plan, let's say you move out of the network area, then you can enroll back in Original Medicare and add a Medicare Supplement Plan without medical underwriting. Additionally, some states have birthday rules or anniversary rules. This is actually becoming more and more common. We just did a video on this as well. So if you want to learn more about if your state has one of these birthday rules or anniversary rules, I'll put that in the description below. If you can't find it, just message me in the comments and I'll send it to you. Anyway, there are many states that actually now have these birthday and anniversary rules. So either on your birthday or around the anniversary of when you actually enrolled in your Medicare plan, you may be able to switch without medical underwriting. Generally speaking, there are additional stipulations though. It's not as much flexibility as you might think. Now, if you're already trapped in a Medicare plan that you don't like, whether it be a Medicare Advantage plan or even a Medicare Supplement Plan, but you're seeing more dramatic rate increases on a yearly basis, don't panic. There are definitely still options, and that's why we highly recommend that you work with a licensed broker. If you liked this video, and we hope that you did, please make sure to give us a thumbs up, and of course make sure to subscribe to stay up to date. If you have any questions about your Medicare coverage, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. As I said earlier, we are licensed health insurance brokers and we're licensed nationwide with absolutely no charge. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.